Thank you, everybody. Slamdance. Okay, I'm going to just be talking about decentering Hollywood. It was actually a post that I had kind of started for TED and got very into the idea. Okay, a little bit about myself. Yeah, I make TikToks and Instagrams and Substacks, but main goal is to be a screenwriter. Luckily, I got onto the blacklist in 2022. Shout out. And it's been a really great journey since then, and that's kind of what kicked off me wanting to share on social media. I was doing a lot of film marketing and just kind of wanted to discuss the journey. And I'm gonna kind of talk about taking back a piece of like the power while you wait for Hollywood or no longer want to wait at all. If you're like me, you're either trying to like bring the studio to you maybe, or just like find an audience that cares about what you care about and to be able to show your film and work to them. Also, sorry, I talk like really fast, so I'm going to try to breathe. Okay. But the first shift that I kind of want to talk about is embracing new avenues. I think we get so stuck in the idea of like our filmmaking being the first and only reality of that film, but I think something that's really cool that I've seen a lot of different people in different places of their career take over. Gary Whitta is going to be the first one that I mention. He wrote Rogue One, in case anyone has ever seen that. He also wrote The Book of Eli, and he recently just released a fiction narrative podcast called See You in Hell. It's doing amazing. He got like a bunch of his friends together to play the different parts. It's kind of like a FU to Hollywood, actually, funnily enough. It's doing great. He also posts about it on TikTok and has like gotten really viral there from doing that. And I think like that just reminds me of all of the different ways in which you can see your work, whether it is writing it on Substack, whether it is showing it on TikTok, whether it's just making the small pitch version of it on YouTube and then cutting it up into slices to let it go wild. Also, Wattpad, guys. I wrote Nancy Drew fan fiction as a child, and it is it is more popular than ever, especially for young women who are writing their like rom-com fantasies or their Harry Potter fan fiction. That is a place like where if you feel compelled to be creative in a different outlet and you have that passion, like I think everyone thinks it used to be an ick or not seriously taken. And I go into meetings now and people ask me constantly about like how I've figured out TikTok or how I figured out Substack and why I'm not scared to share things anymore and why it becomes my own IP. And I think it's actually like really empowering way to reimagine your kind of IP and your work. And then this is kind of the next shift, is that IP is really what you make it. I have 4 examples here of different people that I absolutely love in the different ways that they kind of like work their IP. I used to work for Q Code. I did a lot of marketing. They did narrative fiction podcast. Recently, they just announced that Kenan Thompson and Lamorne Morris are actually going to be doing one of their podcasts as a feature film. And that was literally just a writer made a really funny action comedy. Lamorne Morris attached to it. And then from there, for the last like 3-ish years, they've been just taking it out, and it takes a long time, but like it really is turning into something more. Brooklyn Coffee Shop, if you guys are not watching Brooklyn Coffee Shop, it is like the sassiest Gen Z shit I've ever seen. It's really smart takes on just like the kind of like, bless my heart, overly leftist queens that like you're just like eye rolling at all the time, and they have guests come into the coffee shop, and it's a really simple concept. It's the same thing every time. A guest comes in, and then the coffee shop workers interact with them in a very funny way. And like the way that they have mastered this kind of like repetitiveness is an art form in and of itself. And I think that's really fun and freeing to almost exist within the constraints that she has and to do it so well. And so I put the names down here if anyone wants to follow them. And I've also got Caroline Levitch here, who she started her TikToking about 4 months ago, and she already has 50,000 followers. Her whole shtick, and she's a writer, she wrote on The Bold or The Bold Type, I'm sorry. She makes all this content about how she is marrying into a Latino family and how excited she is and all the cultural differences that she's experiencing and like the wedding and, oh, I didn't know that if you invited 100 people, 300 people were gonna show up. And like, she's really making a community, and everyone is so excited and interested in watching her family grow and progress. She's moving in with her, guys, I love everything about her. She's moving in next door to her parent or her family-in-law. And so like, she though knows that all of this content is because she wants to make a show. And she is proving that this is an IP that people are super interested in, super excited to see. I think it's very smart. Mackenzie Barman is my next one. She is so funny, guys. She has a series called 60s and 50s, and she puts on an old face like filter, and then she just exists as two old couples fighting with each other. And it's, again, she's in her apartment. There's nothing special, nothing fancy about that. And I know for people in this room, you're kind of like, I'm a filmmaker, I am not an actor. Like, I don't want to be in that realm. But anything that you are hyper fixated on can be your IP. I'm gonna go into that in the next slide. Also, Chrissy is here, who is like an expert in social media. She's absolutely amazing. Follow her. She talks so much about working in the film industry. She talks about ASL in the film industry. She did a crazy Bad Bunny post a few weeks ago, so everyone should check that out. Yes. And then I wanted to say audience development goes into that. Like when you find out what you are excited about, it's part of the pre-production. Markiplier is, guys, no one in this room, maybe you are, I'm not gonna say that. No one in this room has 38 million followers yet. We might all one day, but it's like, that is part of the goal. Carol Claire Blurk, I think, is phenomenal. She started talking about trad wives on Substack. She started talking about them on TikTok. That's how I found her. She wrote a book called Yesteryear that will be released this year, and Anne Hathaway's production company bought it. So there's like a ton of different ways to exist and share your passions online. Nick Curcio, my Hollywood Hang podcast host, he actually won Fantastic Fest. He's been growing a following just by talking about horror. That's what he loves. He loves horror films. He loves horror books. He loves anything about the horror community. He won that Pitch Fest. They just produced their film. They already have the other horror creators in the community talking about how excited they are about his film. They are hyping it up for him because he's really made that community and that audience believe in him and excited for him. And I think like it's gonna be very exciting to see his film be released and to see like kind of what that community is able to do for him at like a much smaller scale than Mr. Markiplier there. Shift number 4 is just like, again, embracing detours and your multiple hats. I know it's not fair that we ask filmmakers to do all of the other things, but when you can reinvent those things as fun, when you're like, I could splice up my little pitch deck and it can be a fun YouTube. I could go viral just talking about the contents and the themes of my film. Like when you just reorganize your brain and realize like, oh, all of this is actually my behind the scenes content. I'm telling people how I got there. I am sharing the journey there. People really resonate with that, or at least like that's what I've found. Like people want to support other filmmakers. And so I think it's just like a fun thing to kind of share with the world if you feel that you want to. And then this is the hardest part. I get asked a lot, like, is it too late? Is the algorithm is the algorithm bad, not, sorry, I won't swear again. Is the algorithm bad now? The algorithm is bad, it's kind of trash, but I do think like, the most important thing is to just start now, throwing stuff at the wall. It took me a long time to figure out what I wanted to talk about most often, which ends up being like politics, yeah. But I've gotten a ton of meetings just from like, different producers, indie producers, the NonDē community, and like learning that like all of these people are sharing their journeys and sharing their processes, and like you get to meet people sooner than ever, and it's very awkward and icky at the beginning and you feel cringe AF, but you meet other people who are also in the same boat as you. And I just think like if you're questioning in it, you're gonna be happier to start today and to fail today and then to see the success in 3 years, in 2 years, whatever that is. You'll look back and you'll see how far you grew. If it's 500, if it's 1,000, if it's 50,000, whatever that is, everyone's on their own journey. And I just think like, if you're pained about it or you're thinking about it, I do think this is like a future way to build audience. And like, it's kind of the dangerous idea, but this is the bold, the dangerous thing to do. And like, you have to be brave to try to do it, even if you feel a little icky about it. And yeah, that is my little, it takes you to a link of my things. And I forgot to put the Hollywood Hang on here, but that is a podcast. Franklin was a guest. Yeah, thank you.